Thank you, Kevin. I was wondering if I was really young. I don't think I'm old now, but maybe I was really young in 1900 something. Again, welcome everyone, and thank you to the Chamber EDC for putting on this great event. It is this opportunity where we can create additional transparency for our municipal entities. This past year, we have certainly seen our fair share of challenges and successes. However, before I get too far along, I would be remiss if I did not start with saying how grateful I am for the opportunity I had to work with Commissioner Becky Matthews. I miss her spunk and her no-nonsense approach each and every day. Thank you, Becky, for what you did, and we're have you in our prayers. Soon after I was elected, I asked the city staff to focus their efforts on three guiding principles: streamline, simplify, and serve. These principles are the foundation for the role I believe government should play. I've encouraged staff to always apply these principles to their projects, and we are making some progress, slow but sure. By streamlining our approach, our processes are more business-friendly, with well-designed procedures that create opportunities rather than building roadblocks or intimidating residents. Simplification focuses on decreasing the steps where possible to ensure our communications are clear. Government speak has been the norm for far too long. If the people don't understand what we are saying, we are not communicating. We create transparency when we are better understood. And finally, government needs to be about service to its citizens. We need to find a way to say yes as much as possible. And if we have to say no, then we need to explain why. We always need to put customer service at the forefront of our interactions, be it with coworkers or the public. In an effort to create some additional transparency, I found that many residents and citizens do not truly understand the role of city government. So as an effort to do that, we have created and started to produce Bismarck Insights with Dakota Media Access. These 30-minute conversations have focused on the different city departments and their activities, and now we are beginning to bring in key community business and education leaders to talk to them about how they can support and we can support them. I want to thank Dakota Media Access for their support. They are truly a gem in our community that is often not recognized for their contribution. You can watch Bismarck Insights on Dakota Media Government Access on Tuesdays at 4:15 p.m. and Saturdays at noon, or listen in to Radio Access 102.5, again on Tuesdays at 4:15 or Fridays at 7 a.m. The Together 2045 plan was adopted at the final City Commission meeting in 2022. This comprehensive plan serves as a guiding document for the future growth and development of the physical, social, economic environment of Bismarck. Together 45 plan sets a variety of goals, policies, recommendations to guide the present and future development of Bismarck. Over the next 2 decades, we will reap the benefits of this plan. Our community will enjoy sustained, manageable growth and be a city that becomes home to new businesses, individuals, and families. This past summer, we were fortunate enough to move into our new $10 million public health building. At the previous location, public health had about 17,000 square feet. The new facility has about 22,000 square feet, including a garage space, which is important, as we'll hear shortly. The facility has many benefits over the prior public health space. It has an easy, accessible entrance without steps, making those who are physically challenged having better access. We have family-sized exam rooms with space for multiple clients, clients with caregivers, or individuals who need additional room for wheelchairs. We have drive-through immunization and health screenings that can now be provided under our covered space, the garage. We have space for car seat installation and inspections, which were formerly done outside in the rain or snow. We have an expanded client registration waiting area. This area can accommodate multiple public health programs, including families with multiple children or individuals arriving at appointments with a caregiver. The area can also accommodate mass immunizations and offers enough room to add additional seating. And finally, the area creates a better visibility for staff to ensure safety of clients. This year was also exciting. Bismarck has been able to make considerable progress in the utility infrastructure for the city's water, wastewater, and storm sewers. As part of this past legislative session, the city of Bismarck received a $50 million award to help pay for some of these infrastructure projects. This $50 million is critical in a number of ways. It has a significant impact to our taxpayers and citizens, and I applaud our Bismarck legislators for leading the charge to secure this funding. This $50 million will allow us to upgrade the water treatment project and to start it approximately 2 years ahead of schedule. Thereby, we will reduce some expenses by getting ahead of the future inflationary costs. The funding also allowed us to stabilize utility rates for 2024, and we are confident that relief will be provided to our citizens and businesses in 2025 as well. The city of Bismarck is a regional supplier of water, and we will continue to provide those services to other communities and political subdivisions. This serves as an additional funding source for the city utilities. Further, the City Commission approved a change to how water rate utilities were calculated for our 22,000 customers. We chose a 4-tier billing structure that created cost savings for 90% of our customers. However, further, I wish to encourage everyone to sign up for the water analytics to gain an insight into how and when your house or business uses water. This might also help you reduce some of your costs. The city, our city, cannot properly function without the funds that are entrusted to it by its citizens. Government proves it is a trusted steward of those dollars when it creates an appropriate budget each year that balances wants and needs with what is sustainable. In 2024, I'm proud to announce the city's share of property tax, actually our rate, remains stable, and we have a balanced budget. Further, as I have become more acclimated to my role as mayor, I will continue to think about ways we can budget and improve our cash flows. One that I identified, which was an outdated reserve policy, was forcing us to maintain in reserves 60% of our revenues. This meant tens of thousands, actually millions, of taxpayer dollars were unavailable to improve the lives of our residents. I'm proud that the City Commission agreed with me and voted to reduce that reserve calculation to 40% of budgeted expenditures. This freed up about $8.3 million that will be available for future building projects and help us reduce borrowing requirements, thereby keeping property taxes in check. As part of our budget in 2024, we did provide for 2 additional firefighters who will transfer to a new fire station that will be built in the coming years. We added heavy equipment operators to our roads and streets division that will give us more flexibility to keep our city open when Mother Nature, as it did last year, has other ideas. We added additional snow removal equipment, an alerting system for our fire stations, tasers that integrate with the body cams for our police officers, and we secured equipment that will help us mitigate the oncoming emerald ash borer-related damages to our urban forest. We do have a few buildings that will be needed in the coming years. A new fire station in Northeast Bismarck to ensure that those neighborhoods and schools are well served. And our current police station is out of room on 9th Street, and we'll have to address this in the coming years. Brenda already mentioned this, public engagement. Next June, we do have 2 expiring seats in the Bismarck City Commission. I've certainly enjoyed my time working with Commissioner Marquardt and Commissioner Conley, and I wish them the best if they choose to run for re-election. However, as Brenda stated, we do need to have engagement in our community, and I would be remiss if I did not encourage all citizens to seriously consider getting involved in your local government. For some, that might mean putting your name in the hat and running for office. Could be city commission, could be county commission, it could be state office, but give it consideration. I can tell you in the 18 months that I have served, it has been more rewarding to me in what I've received back than what I put into it. And it does take time, there's no question, but it's no different than anything else we do in life. When we give, we always are returned more than we give. Now to an initiative. My wife Janelle and I are excited to announce a new initiative for the city of Bismarck and actually the surrounding community called the Welcome Initiative. For years, we've heard from people who move into our communities that it's hard to establish friendships. We know that to have a thriving community with a solid workforce, it is crucial that people feel a part of us. Bismarck is a friendly community, but frankly, not always welcoming. You may wonder, what is the difference? Friendly community means we say hello when someone we meet on the street makes eye contact with us. However, a welcoming community takes it a step further. And it says, come over for coffee, or let's have lunch, or join us at our home for a dinner or cocktails. It's being a way of creating friendship, extending ourselves. So we have to take that next step. And part of the next step for us on this is we are presenting this opportunity to the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber Leadership Program in January. We hope that they'll consider it and take it up to ensure that this can be a lifelong or a city-long project for the community and that they will help develop that strategy. If you are interested or know a connection that should be made, you can email me at the city, or you can call me as well at the city, and you can add yourself to the list or tell me an interested person who might be willing to share. We can share with that leadership group. In closing, I would like to thank some of the people who helped me and are my supporters. First and foremost, my wife, Janelle. Thank you, dear, for supporting me on this call. To serve the citizens of Bismarck, it started with a calling about 5 years ago, not just 18 months ago. Also, thank you to my fellow commissioners who helped me and all the citizens serve this community. I look forward to the conversations we have at our table to help guide the city towards a better Bismarck. And thank you everyone for attending today. It is again a way for us to share information with you in transparency. And last, at the start of 2024, the city of Bismarck will be saying goodbye to City Administrator Keith Hunke. Keith, it has been a pleasure working with you these past 18 months or so. The knowledge and history of this organization you have collected since becoming a laborer at Public Works in 1982 will be impossible to replace. But it's your thoughtful and steady approach to leadership that will forever be the qualities that continue to be highlighted as must-haves for people to follow you as the next administrator or administrators. If Brenda Nagel could join me on stage, we'd like to express our gratitude for someone who has meant so much to our community. Keith?
Well, Mr. Hunke is making his way up to the stage. As Mayor Schmitz mentioned, Keith has been around for quite some time. He started when he was like 5. He looks very young to retire, and we wish him well. As Mayor Schmitz mentioned, Keith has been a pretty instrumental part of our community. For 4 decades, Keith has been dedicated to making Bismarck a better place. For those who may not know Keith, his rise to fame After his start as a laborer with the street department in 1982, he went on to become an equipment operator in '87, a shop foreman with Public Works in 1990, a purchasing agent with Public Works in '92, the Public Works Director in Service Operations in 1998, the very first Assistant City Administrator in 2006, and finally the City Administrator in 2016. Since his start with the city, the population of Bismarck has grown roughly 30,000. To show our appreciation to Keith, we would like to present him with a small token.
Oh my. Good morning, everyone. This is really special. Had no idea this was going to happen, and absolutely not expected, but very much appreciated. It's been a great journey working for the city. When, as Mayor Schmitz said, you know, there is a calling, and my initial calling was to be a nurse, and I started out at NDSU thinking of being a nurse, but the true calling I had was serving people. And through my career, through all the opportunities I've had with the city of Bismarck, that has been first and center, is to serve. And it's been a great pleasure. I've worked with many, many great people, directors, team members, mayors, commissioners, a lot of relationships with many of you in the room here, certainly appreciated and will always be cherished. And thank you very much. Thank you to the Chamber, EDC. This is just marvelous. What a way to start today. Thank you so much.
All right, well, let's get on with our program and continue to inform all of you on what's going on. So as we transition now to the Bismarck-Burleigh County panel, on this panel, you've already met Mayor Schmitz, and he's already given us some insight into what's going on in the city of Bismarck. He will be representing the city of Bismarck on the panel. We also have Commissioner Wayne Munson representing Burleigh County Commission, Dan Eastgate representing the Bismarck Public Schools, and Michael Gilbertson representing the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District. Please join me in welcoming the rest of our Bismarck-Burleigh County panel, and of course our moderator, Molly Herrington, for the North Dakota's Office of Management and Budget to the stage.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Good morning.
That was a mic test.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, you all have access. This is good. I told Wayne he has to watch his P's and Q's today because I have strict instructions with him.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Seriously, I'm so grateful that you made time this morning to come out to the State of the Cities, and they're going to fix our audio. Don't you worry about that. They're a great team. So we're going to start out the panel with a couple of questions that I want perspective from all four of you on. So there's no specific order you need to answer in, but I want you to think about the conversation that's been going on about abolishing property taxes. This is a really big conversation for our community, for our county, for all of the committees and commissions that you serve on. And so, as you're aware, there are people that are lobbying to abolish those property taxes in North Dakota, and I'm sure you have, but have you given thought to how this would impact your specific entity, and how would you navigate those waters?
Well, I think for the city of Bismarck, if property taxes are abolished, year one might not be so difficult, assuming the state can actually fund it based upon the way the petition is drafted. because we'd replace our current level of property taxes with state funding. I think it's a bigger issue than that. As we go into the future, we don't know how the state's going to raise the revenue to be able to return to the communities, all of the political subdivisions, the dollars that are necessary to take care of public safety. And when I look at what the city of Bismarck, and I know that our brethren across the river aren't much different than us, our property taxes that we collect don't technically cover all of our critical needs services, fire, police, and public works. And so when we say property taxes are going away, that's a real difficult thing that's going to be hard to navigate. We're going to have to replace it somehow. And to replace it, that means another fee or probably another tax that has to be passed. So we're still going to collect revenue.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, I think what's the next viable alternative funding method? For schools and all of our public services. For Bismarck Public Schools, 20% of our revenue brought in is from local property tax. And so we need to find a way to take care of kids and get our kids educated. And if we're only going to do it on a fee basis or a pay basis, what do we do for those families that can't afford public education? And I think it behooves us as community members, when we look at what community means, to take care of kids. We've all been teenagers, right? Everybody in here? Yeah. Everybody's been a teenager. And I think beyond just providing an education, Bismarck Public Schools provides amazing educators. And so we're putting real people that care about kids into the lives of kids. And so it's not just about the transaction of taxes. It's also about the relationships that we have with caring adults in the lives of kids. It's going to be, I haven't heard a method yet where we're able to help all people in our schools be able to get that kind of education that we want to provide for kids.
Thanks, Dan.
From a park and rec perspective, to echo what Dan said, as a main funding source, the parks and recreation, the programs and services we provide should be inclusive instead of exclusive. If we get rid of that and lose that funding source, the cost of swimming, the cost of playing volleyball, sand volleyball, the cost of everything goes up. And as the mayor said, that doesn't just go away. The cost of those things don't just go away. And, and for a state that prides itself on local control, it seems to me that, the city of Bismarck, if we need a new swimming pool, to go and ask the state legislature for a swimming pool doesn't seem like a very productive thing, especially if Dickinson and everybody else is lining up for their projects, and not just parks and rec projects, school projects, city projects, county projects, and such.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Wayne, what are you thinking about this?
Oh, I've got lots of thoughts. So the first thing I want to do is I want to encourage everybody to go out and look at the website. Dr. Becker did a presentation in front of the Chamber Board a couple months ago. And so I took some time to make sure I read the website, looked through all the questions. And the part that concerns me the most, none of us like paying property taxes, but as everybody here has said, it is a funding source for your health and safety. It is a funding source that allows all of us to make sure you have access to the things that you want. The proposal is to cut that away and for the state to fund everything at 2024 levels. There's nothing in the proposal that has an escalation factor for 25 to 30 to 35. So we're expected as a government to live within our budget, or if you read the website, charge fees or additional taxes. So what have we gained? What really have we gained by eliminating property taxes? Nothing. And so educate yourself, have the conversation amongst yourselves within the community, because I think it's a very important piece that's going to be on the ballot in June.
Thanks, Wayne. You know, you all brought up, of course, the gap that this decision would leave in your respective budgets. What are you having for conversations of how do you prepare to backfill? Other than, I mean, fees and another tax, but have you had more in-depth conversations about really how do we specifically backfill?
Well, at the city level, we haven't had specific conversations other than we know it's out there, and we'll have to look at something. My struggle becomes, from a backfill standpoint, it's going to be fees, which I just talked about fees and water utility rates, and that's a source of fees which will raise ire in the community. The other area is looking to sales tax. Well, sales tax is not exactly the easiest thing, nor do I think it's the most palatable thing to look at, because if the community has to continue to raise its sales tax each and every year and go back to the voters, to do that, to fund the increasing costs, which we will have, and we're projected to grow in Bismarck to be 100,000 people in the next 20 years. That's not going to come without a cost. And so the backfill we'll probably have to pass a sales tax, likely. That's going to fund excess revenues for a foreseeable future so we aren't coming back every year for a vote. And I would imagine all of us are going to be facing something similar, because nobody wants to, what fee are we going to charge? We have some restrictions to fees, by the way, that are legislatively imposed on us. We've looked at whether or not we could have a maintenance fee to our streets rather than special assessments. Well, if we have the maintenance fee, we have to get rid of special assessments. So it's a trade-off in many cases. So it's not like we can just replace the dollars. So this action, although I love to be conservative and not have to incur more costs, and certainly our homeowners don't like to pay any more, our business owners don't like to pay any more than they need to, but it's very dangerous in my opinion, and I don't know the backfill is going to be, it will not be easy.
Yeah, Mayor Schmitz, similar answer for us, that we don't have a specific conversation that we've talked about. Our business operations manager, Darren Scheer, probably has some good ideas for us, but as far as the board conversations, the only way we can backfill is we look at having to raise mills, which we haven't done for 5 years at Bismarck Public Schools, or we put it to the vote of the people through a bond. It's the only ways we can look to get more funds for the school district at this point. And we are, Mayor Schmitz just said, we are a growing district. We're a growing community and a growing district. Through strategic planning with community members, people have repeatedly said they want small classroom sizes for their kids. That requires more teachers and more space. And those things don't come free. And so at some point, we'll have to find ways to backfill. We'll likely have to ask the community what they do want. Where do we want to prioritize dollars in taking care of our kids in our schools?
I guess I would just echo the same thing. I mean, it's hard to imagine a way to effectively backfill that much of a budget deficit when we talk about the continued growth of the city, and from a Parks and Rec perspective, citizens expect certain things. They expect amenities. How many times, I can't tell you how many times I hear, well, when I go here, they have this. When I go there, they have this. Yep, I see that too. I see that too. And there have been, there have been efforts to do that, and the city has voted those down. So a sales tax, I don't see that, being, I mean, that would be an option, but is the city going to do that? Are we all going to do our own individual? I mean, that's not a positive thing either. And the only other way is a reduction of services and programs, and I don't think anyone wants to see that either. I know we don't, but to answer your question, no, we haven't had any specific discussions, but if we have to, we will, and those are difficult decisions that would have to be made.
Thank you.
Same on the county side. We've not had any specific conversations. We've obviously addressed it. We're aware of it. One of the comments that was made by the panel that presented this to the chamber is, everybody's going to want to live in North Dakota because we don't have any property taxes. Well, that's great, but how do we pay for the development of the next group of houses or the utilities, the streets, when the city wants to create a development to build homes? You bill special assessments. It's another form of property tax, but you don't have a choice as schools. You know, when we need to build the next elementary school under this proposed plan, do we charge every student a fee to go to that school? Or do we charge all students a fee so that they have the ability to go to school? Well, then if they don't pay the fee, what happens? It's public education. So this creates a lot of conversations for us. I mean, if the county needed to do a roundabout, do we create a special assessment district for that safety measure for the residents that would be using that roundabout? I think our present system is the more fair system to make sure we're all funded properly.
Thank you. I appreciate you all letting us explore that conversation a little bit, and I know it's a rough one to start a panel on, but I thought I'd just wake you up this morning. You know, Michael, you brought up a really good point. What are we all going to do? Are you each going to do an assessment? And you triggered a thought. It really does promote how are you working together as one? How are you working obviously as separate political subdivisions, but as one to serve the same citizens? And so specifically, I'd like to hear from Wayne and Mayor Schmitz on what are some opportunities that you see for the city and the county to collaborate in the future, and how do you see that benefiting both of your organizations?
Well, you want me to go first on this one?
You're on the spot.
I'm on the spot. You know, the city and the county do currently collaborate on a few projects. Bismarck-Burleigh Public Health is one of them. And we've fought hard for that process in the last budget cycle to make sure that the Burleigh County side of it is funding it appropriately, and moving forward, we hope that grows again. One of the things that Commissioner Matthews started when she was chair is we started a commission or a committee that had the mayor, the Burleigh County chair, the auditor, and then Keith Hunke as the administrator, as a group that we could sit down and have these conversations one-on-one, talking about Renaissance Zone, talking about the ETA, talking about all of the different things that affect our combined groups. And one of the things that has always been funny for me to understand or for me to explain to people is all residents inside the city of Bismarck live in Burleigh County. And our job as Burleigh County Commissioners is to make sure we recognize that we are not just taking care of the rural residents, but we're taking care of all residents in the county. And I think we've had a great start to this Bismarck-Burleigh Commission, working with Mayor Schmitz to grow those conversations a lot. And I think there's a lot of projects that we can continue to work together on.
And that committee is going to continue. We're working on scheduling. It's been a little bit more difficult scheduling just because of work hours between myself and Chair Bakken. But that is going to be, and one of the topics, I mean, Commissioner Munson brought up, the next topic probably is the ETA. That's probably that we're going to address. One of the things we did do is we had a joint commission meeting. That's how we actually finally wrestled with moving forward on public health. It's about being transparent to each other, and all of us at both tables need to be willing to do that. And then when that committee does actually come to a kind of a suggested resolution to a particular problem, my hope is, and I feel at the City Commission we are there, and I think Wayne hopes the same thing, that the commissions as a whole will then accept that recommendation as how to move forward rather than start to rip it apart again at the table. As Commissioner Munson mentioned, we as the citizens of Bismarck are roughly 75% of the population and tax rolls for the county of Burleigh, and we have to serve everybody, and that means we serve the rural community as well. They're very important to us. And so I think it's just about having conversations.
Great, thank you. Michael, I want to pivot to you for a minute. Let's talk about what's going on at Parks and Rec. What's your long-term strategy for serving the citizens and residents, and what are some new and exciting things that might be coming up?
Well, the long-term strategy is to continue to, one thing we do here in a lot of our surveys and such is to, yes, to build new facilities when the opportunity exists, but also to take care of and renovate older facilities. Over the past years, there have been several projects like that where at the Lions Hillside Pool, the renovation of the bathhouse there, which went from the 1950s era fallout shelter to actually a very nice facility now. Some of the warming houses in town have been redone. And another thing that we are very aware of and actually pride ourselves on is through the accreditation process, through the CAPRA accreditation process, of which the Bismarck Parks and Rec is the only accredited park district in the state of North Dakota, which is a point of pride. One of the things that we had to do was an ADA audit, and it was eye-opening, but it's important. It's important work, and we continue to do that because one of the main things of what we do is to provide services and opportunities to all citizens, and we continue to work for ways to strive to make our facilities and our programs more accessible to everyone. As far as some of the exciting things, my son is playing high school hockey this year, so we're eagerly anticipating the opening of the new ice rink, which will happen. Construction season does take a toll on everybody, but it's coming along, and it looks very nice inside. And if people are familiar with VFW 1 and 2, you'll see the VFW 2 has quite a nice facelift, so that whole complex is going to be, I think, as a hockey parent, a nice feather in the cap for the city of Bismarck. There's, to my knowledge, now there's only one other 3-rink facility in the state of North Dakota, and that's in Minot. So it'll be nice to have. So those are a couple of things.
When do you think we're going to see the 3rd sheet of ice open up?
Soon. I would say probably early 2024.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we're excited to add that to the portfolio. You had brought up the recent ADA audit and some interesting things that you learned from there. What's Bismarck Parks and Rec doing to provide activities or diversify their offerings for people of all abilities?
One of the things is to, with the playgrounds, Bismarck was one of and Mandan has a great inclusive playground as well, but being one of the districts in the forefront of that, providing those outdoor opportunities. Some of the things that, in the summertime, our indoor facilities are used for programs like I Can Ride a Bike, which teaches kids of all ages, gives them the chance to learn that skill, which is a lifelong activity. So our facilities are used for some of those things. We do have sled hockey teams that come in and play. So just making sure that if if people want the opportunity, that the opportunity is there. And our staff is very aware of that in the programming that they plan and that they provide. And I believe that, it starts with that outside stuff, making sure our picnic shelters are accessible, and even down to the grills that are outside of the picnic shelters, and those are some things that we don't often think about, but that showed up on our ADA audit, and that should be done, and that is what the district is working towards.
Excellent. Exciting to hear what you have going on, and I really appreciate your focus on creating opportunities for the community that serve everybody. So thank you. Dan, speaking about serving everyone, and as Michael's talking, I'm thinking about all the kids playing on the playground. You've got all the kids playing in the schools. For you, it's no secret that we have a shortage of workforce. So serving these students and getting them into, like you said earlier, those smaller classrooms where they have some different dynamics than they would in a larger classroom. What are you doing to solve that workforce issue so that we can continue to offer smaller classrooms?
Molly, thanks for asking a question I'm excited to answer this time. Almost everybody in this room works in business. It's a business sector. Whether you're a small business, larger corporation, and so you get what it looks like to have good employees, good coworkers. At Bismarck Public Schools, we have the Career Academy located at BSC, and the Career Academy continues to be a pioneer, not just in our city, but in our state, for getting kids ready for workforce. They offer things like aviation, welding, medical-related careers. Right now, we just opened up with a Sanford Health program at the Hughes Education Center, where kids can actually earn a CNA, or graduate with a CNA. Students are able to take aviation and get a pilot's license. We're really excited. We're going to have a new CTE site taking place up at the Silver Ranch area. And in that area, they're going to be able to do construction, including building actual residential homes. So we're actually welcoming people into the community that way as well. And they're also going to be offering a more robust HVAC. So we're going to have more students coming right out of high school with a pretty amazing skill set, in my opinion, when we look at what we need in our community, in our workforce. So I think the schools are doing a really phenomenal job. I'm very biased on that, but I think we have amazing educators doing a great job. We talk about teacher shortage, not just in Bismarck Public Schools, but across the country we hear about this. I was touring Century High not too long ago, and we have a class that's teaching students that are interested in becoming teachers. They didn't offer that when I was in high school. We offer that now as well. So when we look across the different sectors, whether it be, like I said, you have these subcontracting type jobs. You've got leadership jobs. You've got teaching jobs. We've got it's really pretty phenomenal what Bismarck's offering for career and technical education. And other districts across the state are taking note, and they're sending representatives out to check out the Career Academy, what else we're doing at CTE, and taking it back to their communities. So we're excited, we're proud, and we think we're doing a really good job with it.
Great, thanks, Dan. As a parent of 2 kids that have experienced the Career Academy, I know the deep impact that it makes. So thank you for keeping that viable for us.
Absolutely, glad to hear it.
So Dan, now that the school district has constructed new schools, what's on the horizon for the school district?
Yeah, so our long-range facilities plan and some of our strategic plan points to taking care of some of our current schools. Most definitely. We had some presentations from elementary principals just last year. We have at least 4 that are going to be needing bringing us into the 21st century, just to get those buildings to continue to be ready to serve kids the best they can. That'll be a big thing. I think we have other needs that'll continue to come up with long-range facilities. We'll have some things at the secondary level. As we've talked about, our community is not slowing down in growth. It's continuing to grow. And so although we've built 2 new elementaries recently, and we have a large addition going on out at Lincoln, we're continuing to see more growth. And I think it's a great thing. I'm excited about the health of our community, the amount of business it attracts, the amount of adults that want to be here. But it's also because we offer such great services, activities, and programs for our kids. And I'm such a proud lifelong Bismarck resident. And so for me, it's something I just say, well, let's do what we can do. We want to be responsible. We want to serve our community members right, spending money in a wise way. And we also want to be proud of having the best public school system in the state, right there with Marnie and Mandan, of course. But we do. We want to continue to offer great programs for our kids.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Wayne, I want to come back to you on the county level. A hot topic has been the Renaissance Zone. Can you give us an update of what's going on with the Renaissance Zone?
Well, and as everybody here in the room knows, my colleagues here have all approved the application to get back into the Renaissance Zone. I can tell you personally, it is a program that I truly believe in. It's a program that I think our community needs. But my fellow commissioners are a little bit more conservative. They've got some concerns. They have expressed those concerns. And so at the last county commission meeting, we actually asked the city for 3 points. And the Renaissance Zone Committee did approve them and sent that off to the city for their approval. So right now we're at the city commission level. What the commissioners in Burleigh County are asking for is to have a seat at the table. We're asked to approve this Renaissance Zone, which helps, improve our blighted areas. And some of the county commissioners are of the opinion that, well, we're county commissioners. And again, we have to go back to that conversation that we're not just rural commissioners. We are county commissioners. That includes everybody in the city. So we've asked to be a voting member on the Renaissance Zone. We've asked to, if there's ever going to be a change within the program itself, that it comes back to each individual board and has approval, so that we're all involved. And my commissioners, and I shouldn't say mine, but the Burleigh County commissioners, were very receptive to that process of having the ability to be part of the process rather than just approve it and sit on the sideline and watch it happen. They want to be part of it, and that's exciting to me. And so right now we're waiting for it to get back on the city commission's agenda so that it can come back to Burleigh County. So I'm hoping, praying that we are approving this at the next meeting that we have.
Excellent. Thank you for that update. Mayor Schmitz, do you have any comments on the Renaissance Zone?
Well, Commissioner Munson and I had this conversation about some of those concerns that he felt were going to come from the county this summer already. I don't see that's going to be an issue for us, and I know our community development team and the Renaissance Zone committee has, I believe, already approved all those things, so it's just a matter of when it can get to our commission table from a timing standpoint. And then our two other commissions will need to also approve it, but I don't think we're doing anything that's changing really the impact.
Yep. Sure. Well, thank you very much. All right, last question. This one is for any and all of you, but looking forward to 2024, what are you most optimistic about?
Well, I think we just have a great community. And I mean community, it's Bismarck, it's Mandan, it's Burleigh, it's Morton County, and we're growing. And there aren't very many communities in the country that have the opportunities that we have to continue to employ people and grow and see our community growth. And so I think that's what's exciting. It presents challenges, and obviously we know one of those challenges that's going to be in front of us at some point in time as electors to vote on from a property tax standpoint. But if we're growing, that means we're moving ahead, and that's what's exciting. It gives us all opportunity.
Most excited, probably, we've already talked about it a little bit, but we have a lot of growth at the CTE, Career and Technical Education. I should have mentioned earlier too, we're looking at offering that into the middle school levels. So it's starting younger. We're going to get more access to more kids to those opportunities. And beyond that, like Mayor Schmitz said, I just think the growth is great. I celebrate when Bismarck grows. I celebrate when we have great offerings from parks and recreation. We've been not the ones running it, but a partner with the rink. We're also very excited about that, Mike, and with Commissioner Munson. Just everything that we can do to make Bismarck and the county just a great place to be for kids, for families, and I know Bismarck will continue to do an awesome job going into '24.
Thanks.
Personally, for 2024, I'm excited for the absence of construction cones on State Street. That's the thing I'm most excited about. But as far as Parks and Recreation, the opening of our new rink, which will be awesome for the community, continue working on projects, but also with Mayor Schmitz coming in, Commissioner Munson with his experience on the park board, the partnerships, the renewed partnerships with the Bismarck Public Schools. I'm very excited about the way that the entities have established a better pipeline of communication and working together, because I mean, when we work together and the elected bodies work together, everybody benefits, and that truly is a positive. So I'm excited for that to keep growing.
Absolutely.
You know, being the last one to speak, it's always tough because they've had all the great points. But I agree. The growth of our community and the growth of our bodies working together is a positive sense for all of you in the business community to know and believe that we have your back. We are doing our best as elected officials working together to make sure the benefit is for you and for your employees, the citizens of our county. And that's exciting. I see future when I look forward. I see positive growth, and you can't ask for anything more than that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today. I agree with you, Michael. I am most optimistic about the cones being off of State Street, and I'll watch for a more official opening date on that third sheet of ice. So thank you so much for being here. Let's give our panelists a hand. Thank you. Good to see you, Mayor.